Okay, thank you. Okay, Plenary 5, blasting right through the universe of solar eclipse resources for education and outreach. In a certain sense, that's why everybody is here. We're looking for all kinds of resources, the human kind, the connection kind, and also information kind. So I'm going to just, as an intro, I'm going to do a very quick review of what the AAS's task force has provided, and then we will get you to the actual experts in a moment. That's me. So eclipse.aas.org is your friend. It is a continual work and development. It's being managed by the venerable Rick Feinberg. And right on through next April, I'm sure this will be continue to be refined as we receive, as we find links to even more valuable things. So that's the perfect place to start. And if you look under resources, there's all manner of resources there. Okay, that's where to look on eclipse.aas.org. We also have a number of other ones that I'm helping manage. So eclipse2024resources.com is where I'm laying everything out in a kind of visual way. So all of the videos from past conferences are there. You can see them. All the videos from this conference will also be there as we add a June of 2023 link. We also have these sorted by the type of resource that it is and also by the purpose of it, just so you'll see that information in many places. There's a link on there for tourism coordinators, for community planners, where we're taking all of those videos, the ones that are appropriate for that population, and sticking it in one place to make it easy for all of you to spread that word. EclipseMerchandise.com is where it was originally started by Carrie Falzone, who was in the room somewhere, and to help promote Tyler Nordgren's art, but it's kind of morphed into, if you yourself are shipping out Eclipse merchandise, you can have a link and a listing on eclipsemerchandise.com. The more that we are interconnected, the more visible those will be. And eclipseweb.org, I can't remember if I put a slide there. No, I didn't. So eclipseweb.org is a community dashboard that I created as I was pulling together Rochester, New York's task force. I realized, I've been doing this for 6 years, and started to realize I cannot manage this on spreadsheets. I needed a place, and since what I do in life is I think in websites, I needed a website where everybody could log in, see each other, see who are, and be instant contact with all of the other stakeholders. So a lot of the communities in this room already have an eclipseweb.org free dashboard that we've created. We created it to be shareable. So raise your hand if you have a free dashboard. Yes, thank you very much. But you too can get one. Anybody here or on Zoom, if you're managing a community, you just go to eclipseweb.org and click, I think it's something like, I want a free dashboard, and it'll come to me and I will be in touch with you. With that said, let's actually do our outreach, our resource outreach. So the first up is Dan McGlaun from eclipse2024.org. And this is for the Zoom people. So you can hold it or you can clip it.
I'm going to clip it, and I need to make sure the clicker works. Okay, sound check, sound, everything okay? Slideshow. No pressure, Angela.
She gets back better than she gets.
I had to leave home to get, yeah, exactly. Okay. All right. Well, I am Dan McGlaun. Another great presentation by the AAS here in beautiful New Mexico. Thank you very much. Boy, after Rochester, things just started coming out of the woodwork, and I know good stuff's going to happen here. Thank you for attending. Thank everybody at home. I am going to talk fast. I've got so much to say, I can never get through it all. I promise I will make use of your time. I hope you think it's valuable. Ensure your seatbelts are securely fastened. Kick the tires, light the fires. Let's get going. I can't show everything. So at the end, I will have a slide of links that you can photograph or you can keep, and you will be able to contact me. My posters are, of course, with the workshop. You can see me in the breakout session that comes. You can hit me up for a Zoom call. I do Zoom calls with everybody, no charge at all. I can do all that. And I apologize for reading. I normally do this off the cuff. I'm trying to keep myself focused. 10 months to go. Is it? It's too early to think about it, right? I've heard that. And I've told people it's never too early to be late, but the opposite's not the case. So please make sure that you are you are on board with it. You guys are, but everybody else, we need to bring people up. I am Dan McGlaun. I am from a small town west of Indianapolis in the country. I am the president and chief CEO, chief Eclipse officer of Eclipse2024.org. You like that? Yeah, I thought that. I live in Indiana on that red arrow, just west of Indy, right in the path. So on Eclipse Day, I don't have to chase. I can roll out of bed, put on my pink fuzzy slippers, go out on the back deck and see an eclipse. I hope we have the weather that we had this April 8th. It's gorgeous. Depends on many factors. My background is in math, is in computer science, is in education, is in technical project management, and eclipses. I've seen 15 totals and innumerable other things. So I've got some experience. I ran Eclipse2017.org. What an experience. It was very successful. 10 million hits a day for 2 weeks leading up to the eclipse. It was so successful, we got denial of service attacks from Ukraine. That was how I knew we were successful. So now I'm running Eclipse2024.org, and we've expanded. There's a lot of competition. There's a lot of legacy knowledge in the general public. I was stupid enough to change my domain name, so I had to start my SEO from scratch. Well, that was fun. But we've got good content, really good content that's focused on the Eclipse experience, and all of it is free. And that's the one thing. What is the eclipse going to be like for everyone? In the path, out of the path, maybe especially out of the path. So many people are not going to be in the path. Their experience should not be minimized. Their experience should be celebrated. It's not, maybe not the experience I would want, but we should celebrate everyone's experience and really make people feel good about what they're experiencing on Eclipse Day. Their experience is just as important as ours. So I have information for both eclipses. And that is my picture. Thank you. Feel free to steal that if you like. But I'm focused on what will the eclipse be like for me, and me being the user. I don't care if you're a chamber of commerce, if you're a business, if you're a museum, a library, a school. I don't care how many eclipses you've seen, communities, but mostly people, regular people. Isn't this the coolest thing? This is what we want. We want people to connect. We want communities to have something that goes in their time capsules that people in the next eclipse, which is 2153, are going to be able to open up, and we're communicating with people about our experience. We want people who are 5 now to become 70 years old and remember that their grandparents took them to an eclipse, because people do remember that. So, and that experience transcends any of the science that we're doing, which is very important. But I feel that that's very important to do. And it's important to have content. So on my site, we offer a lot of things. I don't even know where there it is. We offer viewing blogs for 75 areas. We offer the Eclipse Simulator, which is featured in Astronomy Magazine, Sky and Telescope Magazine, 2 years in the making. Really, something I'm very proud of. The Eclipse videos that we've extracted off, and I'm going to show you a video where I've run through this really quickly and shown, but it takes me a while. We got viewing instructions, 7th grade reading level, 5 languages, lawyer approved, very simple, and available. Eclipse circumstances and community pages, and I'll talk about that if I can find I don't write any of the code. I can read the code. It's kind of like Spanish. I can't really, but I can read. And I do manage my own programmers, artists, translators, composers, database, and all the executors of my vision for what I want this site to be, which is to be inclusive. But I do all the grunt work. I do all my own eclipse calculations from scratch, all the way back to my own Besselian elements. I do all my own LRO crunching data for the Bailey's beads on the simulator. I do that, and I think it's important because it not only has to show what it looks like, it has to be accurate, because the eclipse is for everybody, including the eclipse geeks, right? Plus, I'm a control freak. And if you've seen what Delta T has done in the last 18 months, I'm about to have to change it again. And it's very easy to change with the setup that I have. And that makes it very accurate. Normal people don't care, but it's important to be accurate. Also, everything on my site is in English, French, Spanish, to be inclusive of everyone. It's not in German because the eclipse doesn't go over Germany. but it is in those languages. No Google Translate. We use professional native speaking translators. And just like Ukraine, how I know that's good is because people in Quebec, they email me and they say, oh, votre français est magnifique. It is really good. And I take that as a yeah, muchas gracias. And my 2023 pages are also in Portuguese, para gente no Brasil. Naturalmente, right? So that's okay. It's Portuguese. I mean, all the important stuff though, the Eclipse information pages, the animations, the simulator, the visual elements are available for any location you choose. You can zoom in, click on your backyard. This is when it's going to happen. This is what it's going to look like. And you'll see on my community pages. But for the community pages, the ones that are designed to host all the information from the communities, we've narrowed it down a little bit. It's 140,000 cities that's available for. The magic of databases. So it doesn't matter who you are, if you're in Toledo, Ohio, Fort Townsend, Oklahoma, it doesn't, Dripping Springs, Texas, it doesn't matter. It's for you, it's for everybody, and not just in the path, outside the path. So if you, and on my community page, we also link to Deb's great Eclipse web, to the Andy's great educational resources, and Kate's wonderful In the Shadow, because those are literally the best resources in the world. And I'm really excited about all the hits that they're getting. So we will join any community as your partner in Eclipse evangelism. There's one community in Indiana, one person stood up and said, there's Eclipse. Dan, can you help me? I'm presenting to their middle school, their elementary school, their high school, their mayor, their chamber of commerce, and they are going to have everybody in their community viewing this eclipse, because that's their first priority, people in their community. People who are going to open the time capsule, sure. But people who are going to drop in and then create a traffic jam on their way out, you know, your community is first, and you can eliminate that traffic jam. I tell this to anybody who will sit still long enough, you guys qualify. So the NCAA championship game is that night. So have a watch party, keep people in your community, prevent those traffic jams. But that's huge. So we will promote any official site link, any official plans for free. And we are on the top of page 1 or in the top third of page 1 for every community, Eclipse 2024, you name a community, and there we are. You're going to get hits. So, Angela, it's time to run the video, and I'm going to ask you to pause at a certain point. This is rapid fire. So here's an Eclipse resources page. This collects everything. The animation, which you can play with, you can embed it on your site. You can get a direct link to it. The simulator, the videos we've extracted from the simulator that are on YouTube, the city page, the community pages. And we've given you iframe code. Copy and paste it, goes on your site, and the animation is right there anywhere you want to put it. We've given you a QR code. This is your QR code, Albuquerque's 2023 Eclipse. Put it anywhere you want and use it. Same stuff is available for the simulator. Same stuff is available for the YouTube videos. We've got a direct YouTube video with titles and music. Can you pause, please? YouTube video with titles and music, and we've got a YouTube video that is streamlined with no titles and music that could be used in an educational program, could be used on TV as this is what it's going to look like. I've done these. You can go ahead and thank you, Angela. Resume. And this shows the path of the eclipse. It's going over my my home in central Indiana. You can see that the oval kind of emulates the shadow. And this is a great visual. Here's the simulator. We will zoom in. You can go all the way to your backyard. Trish, I'm going to Southeast Missouri just for you. And it opens, and we will see. You can change the scene. You've got 4 basic controls. If you haven't seen this before, you can zoom in. We've got limb darkening. You can use this to show the moon going across the sun as it moves in its orbit, which is really kind of cool. You have, you can go, I went too fast here. You've got the shadow that is right underneath my beautiful picture. There I thought ahead. That shows where it is. You've got the Bailey's beads. You've got the diamond ring. You've got the corona. You've got the orange glow. You've got the stars and planets. If you don't like the ones we're showing, you can see all of them, but you probably won't see those. But there they are in case you want to see them. We apply the LRO data to show you the accurate beads, and I did check that in the 2023 simulator, and it's accurate, and you can use that for study purposes. You can turn off the corona, and you can just see the beads. You can zoom in. So that's a good, and we've got a new thing that I don't think anybody has seen. It is more math. We show you, we turn off the dark and we show you the shadow coming, encroaching up at you and overtaking you and moving off. And Michael can explain why that projection is giving you some distortion, but that is accurate. We are ray tracing a vector to every point on the pixel. We know what the observer is. We know everything. Here's Australia, Kate. So it's going the wrong way. What is going on? But if you look at this, we got the actual prominences and we've got the actual corona. It took us a few days to do that, but thank you to all the people. If you don't like the learning curve on that, we've got YouTube videos, about 10,000 YouTube videos up on YouTube. You can download them. You can use them as you like for the annular eclipse. Okay, can you pause, please, real quick? I'm running out of air, but I'm almost done. It's the altitude, folks, I promise. Charles Fulco earlier showed you the astronomy pages, but this is for after the eclipse, one of my next lives. This will be an astronomy curriculum. For any teachers out there, this is available for you, but it's not publicly available. Contact me, I'll give you a link. These are diagrams. Please go ahead, Angela. These are diagrams that things I wish I knew when I was 10, that I was learning this, where you can move things around and you can make your own lesson plans, and you can do right ascension declination, the ecliptic, eclipses, that's a little too fast. The nodes, parallax, Kepler's second law, conjunction opposition, the equation of time using just the analemma, showing the lunar eclipse, and this one I'm most proud of. This one is huge, and it shows you Bessel's method of, you can move the moon anywhere, you can make it ascending or descending, you can move it up or down, which is of course earlier or later to the node. You can put a sphere in the way and show it. You can also make it look like the Earth. There we go. And we can make our own eclipse. We can orient the Earth. And it's nothing more than a cone and a sphere. If you don't like that, we've got preset eclipses in there that show you exactly, just using these controls. There was the 2020 eclipse in Argentina and Chile. And it's very, very accurate for just so this is the kind of thing you could do an entire semester on astronomy with this. And I'm going to go ahead and wish you a good eclipse. And I would love to help you have your moment in the sun as well. Please take a picture of this. That top is dan@eclipse2024.org. I do appreciate your indulgence, and I am ready and willing to evangelize eclipsism with all of you.
I need that. Thank you, sir.
I get more microphones though.
And with that, that's actually the perfect segue because he referred to Michael Zeiler all over the place. Let's introduce Michael Zeiler again. Thank you.
Thank you. Dan does a great job with his eclipse2024.org. In the future, you're going to see some cross sharing of our content between the two websites. So, okay. So I'm, in case you don't know, I'm Michael Zeiler with GreatAmericanEclipse.com. And these are 3 products that we worked on in the last year or two. First is a field guide to the 2023 and 2024 solar eclipses. The purpose of this is detailed maps in this field guide to help anyone, and by anyone, I mean anyone in the general public who has an interest in the eclipses, to find their ideal location for viewing both of the eclipses, plus lots of information to understand the eclipses. Second product is our eclipse globe, which you saw outside. This is every single total solar eclipse of the 21st century. We produced this in collaboration with Sky and Telescope magazine. It's available on our website and also the Sky and Telescope online store. And the last product is our Atlas of Solar Eclipses. This is your vacation planner for the next 25 years. once you've seen the 2023 and 2024 eclipses and you catch the eclipse bug, then you can plan out your vacations through 2045 in detail. Similarly, it's to help you find your best location. And I'd also like to say just a few words about sharing. And Dan was talking a lot about sharing. And we're happy for anyone to use the content from our website. If you use it on your page or something, all we ask for is a link back. We're very liberal and permissive about the use of our content. The only constraint is for commercial use. Please contact us and we could discuss some kind of arrangement. But otherwise, we're pretty liberal about sharing our content. Okay, this is a fun project that we launched on April 8th of this year, the Eclipse Daily. Okay, thank you. And every single day, and this is today's Eclipse Daily, every single day we release a tidbit of information, a teachable moment, either a funny meme or a piece of history from the past, or highlight a place of interest to go see the eclipse. And we also share the good work that many of you are doing, so that if you're doing something for the public good, contact me at michael@greatamericaneclipse.com, and we're happy to consider it for an Eclipse Daily. It's going to be running through next April 24th. On the right side is an example of one of the maps. This is one of the most popular maps we published because Texas is going to be an epicenter for both of the eclipses. So this is the kind of work that we do. We both produce online maps free for consumption and sharing on our website. And we also produce many print maps that you can purchase from our website and hang on your wall. This is another example, a print map on the left of the 2024 eclipse. We've been handing out for free our map of the 2023 eclipse outside. If you haven't grabbed one, please grab one. And an example of one of the maps that we serve on our website. We've produced a series of state maps, both shareable online and print. So every state in the path of both eclipses you can find on our website. Okay, if 2 days ago, if you looked at the front page of skyandtelescope.org, we published, or Sky and Telescope published our story, Where to See the Two Great American Eclipses. One of the things that we do is we don't just produce general maps showing where the path is and the timings and so forth. We produce maps to inform, inspire, humor, educate you, and to help you find your location. And I'll go through the maps that were just published. These are brand new maps that are not yet on our website, but soon will be. And I'm pressing this button and nothing happens. Thank you. So this map shows the 25 most populous cities inside the path by rank and by population. Montreal is the winner. Although you could make a case for Dallas, because if you include the entire metropolitan area of Dallas, that's a metropolis of 7 million people. But there's many satellite cities around the core of Dallas, so that dropped it down to third place after San Antonio. Similarly, for the 2023 eclipse, however, the path of the 2023 eclipse is significantly less populous than the 2024 eclipse. San Antonio is crossed by both eclipses, and I should mention too that there's 31 million people inside the path of the 2024 eclipse, and 6.6 million people inside the path of the 2023 eclipse. Okay, here's a fun thing to think about. There's actually 5 crewed spacecraft inside the path of the 2024 eclipse. And so if you're near one of these locations, this would be a great side visit to enhance your eclipse trip. Well, I think about this kind of, and also it happened yesterday. Some of you may have noticed that Joe here made a suggestion for a map to map the Indian reservations and pueblos and historic sites such as Chaco and Hovenweep and others that are inside the path. So I'm going to add that to my to-do list. If anyone has a brilliant idea for a thematic map like this, just shoot me an email, and I'll probably go ahead and do it. Okay, here's another fun map. Eclipse place names inside the path. Okay. The best one is in Newfoundland, Eclipse Island in Newfoundland. And Eclipse Island got that name because I believe it was Captain James Cook that actually observed an eclipse from that island. So that's how it got that name. Another good one is Corona in New Mexico. However, ironically, you won't see any corona during the annular solar eclipse. But these are fun places to go. I also like Shadowland in Texas. That's a good one. And there's another corona in southern Missouri. So these are some fun places just to know about, and you might possibly end up in one of these places. Yeah, there are. Yeah, there's a Los Lunas just south of here, not very far. And the Mesa del Sol is just south of the airport. Oh, the Los Lunas is named for a family? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy, but you know, this is what I found. I used I found a database of every single place, named place in North America. And so I did a search through this database for eclipse related place names. And this is, there's some more, but I couldn't put everything in here, but these were the best ones that I found. I also didn't include it here, but I did a search for all the planet names, and of all the planets, I found a place for every single planet except for one. There was one planet. No, No, there's a few Earths. In fact, there's Earth City and Earth, Texas, but there's one planet that didn't have any place name. Neptune was named, Pluto was named, Jupiter. Okay, yeah. Okay, can anyone guess the planet that Uranus? Uranus got skunked. I wonder why. Okay, stadiums and speedways inside the path. This is if you want to experience a Eclipse. If you'd like to be surrounded by thousands of other people cheering and screaming during totality, these are your spots. So, and some prominent locations. There's a couple here right in Albuquerque, but Indianapolis Motor Speedway will be a good one. There's 2 major league ball clubs inside the path. It's I can't remember. There's Progressive Field in Ohio, and there's one in Texas. Which one is it in Texas? AT&T. Okay, yeah. So those are the 2 major league, and some of these are also minor league ballparks. So these are some great places to view the eclipse if there's an event being organized. Okay, here's an interesting concept. Did you know that you can simulate the sunshine on outer planets with an eclipse? It's easy to calculate using some basic principles of the inverse square of illumination. And so I calculate where you could simulate sunshine at maximum partial eclipse. So at maximum partial eclipse, you'll experience Mars sunshine roughly by Tijuana and San Diego and Bismarck, North Dakota. A little bit, not far from Winnipeg. And to make the map a little more interesting and to eliminate the big gap between Mars and Jupiter, I added the dwarf planet Ceres. And so you can see where you can experience Ceres level sunshine. Washington, DC and Philadelphia get Ceres sunshine. And then Jupiter is Oklahoma City, Chicago, and maybe Pittsburgh. And the far outer planets, they're very closely bunched to the path of totality. So I created these inset maps on the bottom that show the outer planets. Planetariums inside the path. Okay. Obviously, you don't want to be inside the planetarium, but many or most of them will have public viewing events, and they're going to be sources of reliable information for the eclipse. Okay, now this is for a me-clipse. If you like solitude and you want to be by yourself or with just a very few other brave souls on top of a mountain, it can be a very dramatic experience, especially during a total solar eclipse. You have the opportunity of seeing the shadow of the moon racing across the landscape. You're going to have a deep blue sky because of the high elevation. And you'll be either by yourself or with very few other people. So this is another way to see the eclipse. The highest peak that I found was Wheeler Peak in Nevada and Cerro Gordo near the Pacific coast in Mexico. Okay. Okay. eclipses are a great excuse to visit a national park. And if you could, if you decided, if you designed an eclipse path from scratch to maximize the number of national parks that it would cross over, you would essentially get the 2023 eclipse. It passes through the densest concentration of national park units in the Four Corners area. The other advantage of this area is that the weather is generally sunny, and the crowds have mostly diminished in the national parks in October. So these are some great choices for your eclipse viewing location. Last and next total solar eclipses for each of the United States. This took a bit of computation, but I used my GIS software. And what I did was I took the shape of each of the individual states and did did some fancy processing of comparing all of the paths of the last and future several centuries, and came up with this list. So these are the answers. In New Mexico, the last total solar eclipse here was 1878, and the next will be 2045. I didn't include, or I excluded the ones from the states of 2024, but you'll be able to see them, of course, by the yellow path through the map. Same idea, last and next annular solar eclipses, excluding the annular eclipse this October. I'll just point out that Connecticut, Rhode Island, I believe are the ones with the longest gap. And what I found is that typically the smallest states have the largest gaps in time, and that makes sense because they're small, and so it's harder for an eclipse path to intersect them. Annular solar eclipses from 1901 through 2000. I saw the 1994 eclipse from White Sands, New Mexico. I saw the 2012 eclipse from Albuquerque, New Mexico. So this October, I will enjoy my third annular eclipse in New Mexico. Annular solar eclipses of the 21st century. What's interesting is how so many of them collide in the Western US. I can't explain that, it's just a coincidence. Total solar eclipses of the last century. You can see that 1918 was somewhat similar to the 2017 eclipse, where it neatly crossed the entire country. And total solar eclipses of this century, and we're lucky that the total solar eclipse next year is a fairly long duration of 4 minutes and 27 seconds or so. But the greatest American eclipse is coming on August 12th, 2045. That eclipse will have a maximum of duration of 6 minutes and 6 seconds. And with that, I thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, moving right along, Doug. Where are you, Doug? We're really late? Okay, Doug, where are you? I have. Why do oh wait, am I in the wrong time? No, I just can't read well. No, on mine I have Doug, but okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. No, that's why I went down. Sorry, Dennis, you're next. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Well, that's pretty hard to follow. Oh, yes, this is the right one. It's a joint activity with, or joint presentation with Andy Fraknoi and myself. You've met both of us before. We're both leaders of the, thank you, I'll try and speak up. Now we're both leaders of the solar eclipse activities for libraries, which Andy's going to talk about. And connected to that are the activities from the National Science Teaching Association, NSTA. So with that introduction, I'm going to turn it over to Andy. Are you there, Andy?
I am. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Next slide.
And do I have control? Right?
While we're waiting for the
No, I
next
don't.
slide, I'll mention that this is, we calculated the 50th year of Dennis and I working together on astronomy education. So we're glad to have special events.
We were in elementary school.
All right. So I mentioned this already, the great challenge these eclipses represent for astronomy outreach. The next slide. As I told you, we have this grant from the Gordon and Betty Moore Foundation, which involves not only distributing 5 million solar viewing glasses through public libraries, but also identifying a variety of people who can help libraries. I should also say that in addition to distributing the glasses, we're going to be distributing information. The booklet that we've written, Dennis and I, for librarians and their patrons also includes handouts that are in both English and in Spanish that librarians can send home or can distribute directly at the library, both in printed or electronic form. In addition, part of the project is to identify solar eclipse partners who can help libraries. This includes a variety of partners at universities and other places, amateur astronomy clubs that I talked about already in the previous session, but it particularly involves working with the National Science Teaching Association to identify solar eclipse partners in high schools and middle schools. Next slide. We realized that libraries are a great place for information dissemination. Around the country, most communities already have an information dissemination center, which is the town public library. And so that's a good place to focus our community outreach efforts. Next slide. This is the guide that we've put together. In addition, this project involves not just glasses, but workshops for librarians in every state. Also, solar astronomy kits for state library systems to distribute across the state, and simple activities to use in library programs, and then the solar eclipse experts. So I think that's my last slide, and I'm now going to hand things back to Dennis.
I'm going to take over from there. I wanted to give a little more details. I talked about this morning about what NSTA is doing in relation to trying to capture administrators.
The people at home can't hear.
No, I think someone must have accidentally pressed the power button.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry.
No. Can't hear again.
Hello, can you hear me out
Oh,
there?
yep, that works.
Andy, can you hear me? Since I can see you.
Yes, I can hear you, but there's a great echo.
Try it again.
Is there an echo now?
No, that's good.
All right. First to the world. All right, so scrolling down the page, you come to the guides, these three guides.
No, the sound is out.
Okay, try again.
Okay, is that working now?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I mentioned this before, we have these three, the Eclipse guide for administrators. Their goal is to teach about how important is a learning experience, how safely it can be viewed, and then some safety strategies. So I wish everybody would use this with their administrators early and often. As you scroll down, you get information about NSTA publications. Both of these will be upstairs in the activity center if you like to peruse them. The guides, I have copies of those printed out, so you can look through those at the Sherathon up where the punch activities are. We wanted to make it as ongoing and exclusive as possible, so we have ongoing web seminars. These are free web seminars. There's one on August 20th. No, sorry, August 31st. So if you'd like to sign up, it's free to sign up. As much as possible, all of this stuff is free. Certainly purchasing when the sun goes dark and solar science is not, but everything else is free on the website. We have a whole NSTA collection to a large extent that's supposed to pick up things like Mike has had and what we had from Eclipse2024.org. You'll go through here and you'll find lots of links to other groups that have resources. As our goal, as I said earlier, is to have one-stop shopping as much as possible. And finally, we end up with links to some of the key players that are out there. You can see already AAS, CASP, NASA, and talk with Kelly about trying to get together to figure out what's the best, where to go with NASA. There's a lot out there with NASA. So where to go with that. NISNet has a great site, Space Sciences Institute. All of this is on that URL at nsta.org. Finally, as Andy mentioned, I'll tell you what they're supposed to do. We have these 100, hopefully it might be 200 solar eclipse partners, and their responsibility is to partner with their local libraries and other community organizations, boys and girls clubs, community centers. You can think about all of those for 2023 and 24. They get a free membership to NSTA, so they have somewhat of an obligation to do this. If someone was asking about these, my goal is for them to work with their teams and actually have the teams do this. So if you'd like to find out if there are partners in your area, just get a hold of me. And finally, one of the things we're really trying to do is how do we find new partners? I don't know if you want any partners, but how do we provide new resources to new audiences? I'm talking here to people about PTA. And that's something we're going to pursue as we go back. How do we get in through PTA so that parents know about this information? They are as bad. They're just as likely to be challenged by, is it safe to do this and keep their kids inside? How do we make sure they know it's safe viewing? We just published an article in the Homeschooling Parent magazine. Homeschoolers are very big in our area. I don't know about America, but this is another big group that needs to be brought up to speed and understand and be enthusiastic. We've had great input, feedback from them. And then I don't know if people are familiar with the STEM learning ecosystems. There's 110 of these around the country. They are partnerships of schools, museums, after school program, city organizations. And we have now linked with them. They're going to have a webinar and get information out. So trying to think about those new places that we don't normally link to, and how can we use them as a multiplier effect? I think all of our goals with what we've done with NSTA and the library is how do we get to those organizations that serve other people so we have a multiplier effect? So that's our goal. And if you have any suggestions, two parts. If you go to the website and you don't see a link that you think we should have, make sure you let us know. If you can think of other places we ought to be thinking about besides PTA and STEM learning ecosystems or homeschooling, let us know. We'd love to try and figure out a way to multiply the effect even. Thank you.
And I'll just say that I've tried to put the resources that Dennis mentioned into the chat with a link so people can get it there as well.
Okay, and let's see, we're gonna be bringing in Norma, Reis from Brazil.
Yeah, did she send me stuff? Yes, your stuff.
Yep, I see it. There she is.
Oh, my grandma.
Good afternoon. I'm thankful to God for this opportunity to be with you. It means a lot to me to be with you today, and I'm going to share what I've been doing as an independent researcher here in Brazil. So if you can open the slides.
Oh, no, sure.
Well, I've been working on Eclipses in History. It's a podcast project. I've been working under guidance of Dr. David Siebeck from NASA Goddard. The next, please. Well, I'm a former NASA intern. In 2008, I carried out an internship at Goddard, and I carried out research on eclipses through the centuries. I wrote a big paper on several eclipse stories from ancient ages until modern ages. And I would like to highlight how important it is initiatives like mine as an independent researcher, as a private person in Brazil for educational communities, because sometimes they need someone who has been working to disseminate astronomy science, and even without a connection to an institution, because I retired from the Brazilian government. I worked on the education ministry, and now I work in Paraná State, South Brazil, to disseminate astronomy. The next, please. Well, just a picture from NASA Goddard where I did my internship. The next, please. Here are some eclipses in history pictures. The dragon is a symbol in Chinese story, which is, they thought there was a big dragon in the sky. This dragon swallowed the sun and the moon during an eclipse. So they asked the population to make noise to scare the dragon away. And there is the picture of a couple, which means the sun and the moon were husband and wife. So they pulled the curtains of the sky to assure their privacy. So I investigated several stories. There's a story, for example, Columbus used an eclipse of the moon to manipulate natives in the island, in the Jamaican islands. So he said he had powers over the eclipse, and the natives gave him provisions for his crew. And so he used the eclipse to manipulate those people because they ignored the mechanism of eclipses. So let's go to the next. Well, I've been constructing, under guidance of Dr. David Siebeck from NASA Goddard, a series of eclipses, podcasts about eclipses. We are selecting 10 eclipse stories from different ages and interviewing people, from some scientists from NASA about the science of eclipses, and some historians from around the world. So we want to reach primarily students and teachers from the United States and from Brazil. So we want to connect these two countries through the 2023 eclipse. The next, please. Well, it is just a picture to show that we want to reach these kids from these two countries in a beautiful project and an innovative research on this podcast series, and to they highlight the importance of the 2023 eclipse in these two countries because it's going to be visible in part of northern Brazil too. The next, please. Well, as I mentioned, the target event is this year's eclipse, the 2023 annular eclipse, and to promote awareness of eclipse science and eclipses in history among students and teachers, not only from the United States and Brazil, but also from several parts of the world, because we are going to create a channel on YouTube. And in this channel, we're going to make available the podcasts in both English and in Portuguese. So it's going to reach more parts of the world in addition to Brazil and the United States. The next, please. This is just a picture of the annular eclipse we're going to have this year. So the next, please. So we want to interview from 15 to 20 experts from around the world, including some of them from NASA, and to disseminate in the YouTube channel in both English and Portuguese. So the researchers we're going to interview, they can share pictures, they can share videos in their interviews. So it's going to be a very rich and original material about these eclipses in history, highlighting not only the history, but also the science. The next, please. Well, the eclipse stories ranging from ancient China to Indian myths, a trip of Columbus, as I mentioned before, the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, and more. The evaluation of the project will be based on watchers' feedback for continuation with more stories in a future edition, because we want to continue this project for next year, perhaps for the forthcoming eclipse of 2024. The next, please. Well, I guess that's it. If you have questions, and there is my email. Thank you.
Okay, and I believe last up is Cherilynn. And great, we have a website, fantastic.
Yes, just the website. Thanks, give me a second. Thank you. I'm curious, before I get going, how many of you have been upstairs and have experienced these tactile thermoform representations? Great, great. And I just want to let you know that we do have a limited number of packs that we can offer to those who feel that they might actually make use of them, either for blind or low vision learners or for sighted learners. So if that's you, please just ask upstairs during the breakout, and there is a pack waiting for you. Okay, and similarly with these team cards, and I wanted just to feature this website that I'm so proud of. One prior announcement, by the way, I'm in awe of my colleagues and the national reach, right, that they are achieving with their efforts. And so I just want to take a moment to. Yeah.
Thank you, yes.
And so here we are doing something regional that we hope will radiate, right, more to the nation via these extraordinary networks that are coming out. The designer of this website is a fellow named Don Kolinsky at UCAR, and we are very proud to be working with him. And I wanted to just somebody's going to be my driver, is that right? Yeah, great, sweet. Yes, and I want to emphasize that I haven't heard this very much. It's another eclipse. We are at a time of high solar activity. We are at a maximum of solar activity, and this is going to overlap with these eclipses, the total solar eclipse especially. It's a marvelous time to know people in the amateur community and get those solar telescopes out like they're like Derek, right? And really find your partners in solar observing with magnification, because there's just the solar features that are available to you right now are extraordinary leading up. So I can't say enough about, this is true of that Chaco eclipse as well. Total solar eclipse at a time of maximum solar activity. That was in 1097. Here we are in 2024. So please make sure that we can add that dimension that we are in the high time. Great. So if we could go, I want to teach you about, so you see the website is very simple URL up there. Encourage you to take away, and you can use this. Make sure you just take away one of these, and that QR code right there will get you to where you need to be to access resources we're making available to the community. So if you go then to the outreach tab, please, and then you go down to outreach products. This is what we have up so far, and it continues to be a work in progress. Yes, so most of you by now have seen this around. We have indoor demonstrations that'll knock your socks off upstairs if you haven't already seen them. Go ahead and click into the 3-hole punch pinhole projector. By the way, to say it, just go 3-hole punch, pause, and then say pinhole projector. Right. So my team got it. So let me just show you how easy this is. We're either going to provide you with some, for those in the region, we're really happy to, we're in a printing mode for the heliophysics figure to help outfit the region here. So if you're somebody who's going to convene an event, wants a stash of these, we'll print them for you. But if you want more, then we can provide, or you're someplace else, anywhere in the world, we've made this very easy for you. Please scroll down. We made this very easy. And click into download printing instructions. Scrolling down, we've made a relationship, keep going. We would love you to fill out 2 questions. We've made a relationship with you printing. All you have to do is contact them, give them a name, and tell them how many you want. And it took some time, honestly, to get 2-sided cardstock color die cut holes to find the printer that would do it, right? And we did, and we want to share that with all of you, how you can go fishing. And look how inexpensive these are, right? So in quantity, right? You can use these, by the way, not just for your number, right? This is this theme for faith. The sun is always there. So the eclipses are an enormous hook. We acknowledge that, but I just want everyone to know that we've made this a very easy process for you to go in here and get things printed and delivered to you, if that's what you would like to do. Also, if we continue scrolling down a little bit, there's also a do-it-yourself version if you want to punch your own holes and take a PDF and make it into a more craft-like activity. That's a possibility for you. I'm being called the queen of pinholes. I've become fascinated about this. Let's go back now to make it clear that it's really easy. Let's go. There's a facilitator guide, which you can see upstairs. So I'll defer to the breakout session on that. But I really want to feature something we can't feature upstairs, which is this really understanding pinhole projection. My team has spent the last 6 months pulling together resources from all different places, optics, physics sites, to really understand why is it that a simple hole is making an image of the sun. So if you're an outreach professional who wants to have some insights, I highly recommend, we've broken it into 5 different things here, how to use observing, exploring. I'd like to click into observing for a second. And just scroll through a little bit. Okay, keep going. Okay, stop there, please. There's the table, please. I'm in the way. Okay. So there's a summary of what's available to you in those 5 parts. And I want to just feature the observing pinhole images in our everyday environments. And also in section 5, where I think a number of you will be, and you will enjoy seeing those insights and resources that are pointed to there. So we are in 2 now, which is emboldened on the 2nd row. Go ahead and just scroll slowly through, Angela, these collection of images of, I found that people need, stop there please, need to be trained to see pinhole images of the sun. They'll look at a set of shadows and they'll focus on the dark parts. And they'll just try to look for shapes of leaves and other things. We have to train them to see the relative negative space of the circular shapes of light. And so we have a collection of images here that help to train folks, and you can print those out, right, at our site as well. So now, Angela, finally cut you loose to just go ahead and show a few more of these. They're everywhere if you know how to look. It's a miracle hiding in plain sight, and it's really fun, I think, using the eclipses to persuade people these really are images of the sun, and then excite them to a lifetime of paying attention to pinhole imaging, right, for the rest of their lives, right? People still send me pictures, right, after I pointed it out to them for the first time. So keep going. Of course, during an eclipse, it's much more obvious. We all know that, but it's for every day. Keep going. Look, keep going. This is my front yard. Keep going. Yes, everywhere, including keep going, keep going, keep going. There, inside, look, light streaming through your window. And the plants outside the window, there they are. If you don't have plants outside your window and that's just framing your wall, this is a beautiful thing to use. The images are more contrasting and easier to see with light streaming through a window, right? So either you're going to get pinhole projection like this because it's filtering through leaves, or you can get out your projector and have some fun. Okay? And these three different shaped holes are what the secret is. Look at this blinds. This is in my hotel room. This is a gift. Keep going. Let's look at that. Wake up in the morning in your hotel room in Vernal, Utah, okay? And you scroll down just a little bit so you see that the shape of the hole, the other way, the shape of the hole is a long rectangle, right? And yet it's making those beautiful round images. So this is a lovely thing to wake up, the miracle hiding in plain sight of solar imagery, with or without an eclipse. Keep going down, and well, there, my straw hat, okay? These are not round holes, but look at the round images, so beautiful. Okay, let's go back out of here quickly. Thank you, driver. Okay, and now I'd like to just go to the appendices. I really invite you to explore these. I think you will enjoy them. Scrolling down, yep, we're in section 5 here. Thank you. Why are the 3-hole punch pinhole projector images fuzzy? Discovering how pinhole images of eclipses are inverted. Why doesn't our pinhole projector have pin-sized holes? Okay, and then a short list of our favorite pinhole related resources, which is likely to change after this time with you. So what I'd like to do is go to that first one. Keep going. We didn't rehearse this, Angela, so thank you for your, okay, stop. This is the demonstration you can see upstairs. And this is the arms of Mr. Joe Aragon over here, because we actually really came home with this at the Sun Fun event that I told you about at Acoma, Pueblo of Acoma earlier. And even we're finding little kids can get the idea of the inversion. F is a letter they're familiar with, right? So they immediately get that it's upside down, but as though are the flags of the F, and by the way, F is for fun. Whatever else it may mean to you, F is for fun. So that either the flags are pointed toward you or they're pointed away from you. And families, even yesterday, were getting this idea of this inversion. And now, let's keep going. Okay, we all know about that ray diagram. Next. Yes, we want to relate what you see through a pinhole image to what you see through the solar protection glass. Those are going to be different, aren't they? Because of this inversion process, those are going to be different. So if we keep scrolling, how can you make sense of this? And we have this way of showing you how there is the relationship between what you see through solar protection glasses and what you see through the pinhole. So these are really excellent companions, right? Having the solar protection glasses and having a pinhole projector are lovely companions, 2 safe ways to observe the sun during the eclipse or during regular sun watching. And here's the fun part, and I won't go through it, but keep scrolling. During the, go ahead, stay there, please. During the 2012 annular eclipse, GB Cornucopia, 30-year park ranger, you can meet him upstairs also. Talk to him about Chaco. We were standing in the plaza of Pueblo Bonito. By the way, you can make cool pinholes through your armpits, okay? So, you know, using body parts, all body parts to play is a really fun thing to do. And these two images, this image was taken within a couple of minutes of my doing pinhole shadows, right, on the wall of Benito. Okay, and so, but look, they're not the same, are they? No. What's the relationship between them? And so these slides, these next 5 slides will guide you through an inquiry where it will ask you a question and how do you rotate it, given the way we showed you prior to this. So if that's of interest to you, right? Just track through those. I think you'll find it kind of fun and light and very insightful. Let's back out of here for a second. I'll show you, and so again, making this real easy for the world to equip themselves in this way. Yeah, so let's go back. Let's go to let me just show you briefly the Sun Fun fill in the blanks. We worked hard on this to make a drag and drop fill in the blank. This is something that's used in literacy. If I can get you to play a little bit, Angela, the sun is a star. Look at this. You know, can you drag and drop that for us and illustrate? So find a solar system.
Put one in there just for fun.
Are you going to put a wrong one in there, Angela?
Yeah.
Okay, we've debugged this. We've had people testing and breaking this. We're going to we have 3 right now, and we're going to have a few more later. But this is a fun activity to get some of the vocabulary. It's been tested in K through 5 grades, and we kind of know where the cutoff is. And so I just quickly invite you to have a look at that at your leisure. Let's go back.
I'm going to point to something on here before we go back.
Yes.
8 planets. Just saying.
10.
So let's go in. You can punch team cards. These are in physical form, and you can see these upstairs and play with them. There's a create your own card template. It has turned out to be enormously powerful with families, right? As little kids answer questions on their create their own team card and have a look at these. But there's also this interactive version online. So if we can scroll down, all cards. You see there, Mr. Aragon is here. They've been wearing a similar necklace. So he is one of our partners. We have Tasneem Al-Shuli, but if you could she's our blind and low vision consultant. If we could scroll over one of these and show the backs, Angela.
Oh, okay. Well, since Joe's right here, I'm going to.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
That is awesome.
Isn't that pretty cool?
Yes.
Yeah, this is our web developer, Don Kolinsky, and we inherited this technology from him and from HAO, and we're really happy about that. And so each person who is featured has been asked a bigger, longer survey of questions, but these questions are answered on each of these cards. And so there's this, just scroll down, we've opening set of 18. We are making it so that, look, the punch mission you heard this morning from Craig DeForest and Amir is very connected to the science of the corona and the way in which that affects the earth. And so the images, they were asked to provide an image of something that enlivens them. Providing an image of something that enlivens you. What is that? And then you can see how these work. And the first 18 are a really neat collection. You see web developer, senior administrative coordinator, financial analyst, right? Outreach. It's the science and engineering people, but all the people that made a NASA mission work, right? Yeah, there you go. And I think Craig DeForest, where he may not be here, but he said he watched the little girl go, I can be a ballerina and I can be a scientist, right? That just didn't go together in the little girl's mind, and he made that connection. We hope Nikki will be on the ground here at the Balloon Fest with Albuquerque. She's our mission scientist and is an extraordinary communicator. And Craig himself would like to be on the ground here and looking for the place where he can be of greatest benefit to this region. So there you go, that's Craig. I want to show you his weird fact. The sun produces 10,000 times less heat per kilogram than a cow. Our shop is not been bright most because it's very, very large. So these literally are fun facts, and the collection of them make a really beautiful orientation to the sun and the solar wind if you focus on them in an activity. And we have people upstairs that break out showing you some of these activities. It's not just the product itself, but it's how you inquire with them with different ages to pull out the meaning, what it means to be a team, what it means to make something larger happen than just you as an individual. Oh, yeah. So we are debuting that here at the AAS. So you're the first among the first public audience to have a look at it. All right, thank you.